everybody to the Your Desired Success Foundation Mastermind, paying it forward with the golden rule, do unto others as you would have done unto you. Now, when we're talking about the power of the mastermind, Napoleon Hill here, the author of the world famous book of success, Think and Grow Rich, along with other books, said, it is the principle through which you may borrow and use the education, the experience, the influence, and perhaps the capital of other people in carrying out your own plans in life. It is the principle through which you can accomplish in 1 year more than you could accomplish without it in a lifetime if you depended entirely on your own efforts for success. Hence why we are here today to support each other, because what it's all about is winning at the game of life. So, Mum, if you would like to start us off, and Trudy, if you're back on, you can go after me. So.
The purpose of the mastermind is to share our value and connect with like-minded people in order to create wealth in all areas of our lives.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other. Oh, sorry, I didn't know if I was on mute. We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There is no multitasking or distractions during meetings.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are
Carly, if you'd like to go.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Indeed we do. And this week, Diane got to read that powerful final line. So great to have you on. Great to see you join us, Carly, and great to have you back as well, Trudy. So as I mentioned, today's topic is actually going to be based on Napoleon Hill's teaching around whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Okay, so an extremely powerful place to start. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring up a video that I just watched a little bit of before, and I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go through it. Now, the only challenge with when we're sharing a screen and on Zoom, sometimes the video can jump. So I encourage you to just sit back and let be whatever will be, and you will receive what you need to receive through this. It's just 7 minutes, but I found it really empowering before I got on this call. So let me once again share my screen. Give me a thumbs up once you can see that. Fantastic. Okay, let's go.
My search led me to the study of the spiritual forces with which all of us are blessed. And it was in this field that I came upon a clue which has enabled me to help millions of people to find their earthly destinies. I want to describe my discovery in the simplest terms possible, because it will reveal to you why it is true that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, regardless of how many times you may have failed in the past or how lofty your aims and hopes may be. I caught my first fleeting glimpse of the profound law which provides the means by which we may choose our own purpose in life and attain it, while I was being coached by Andrew Carnegie during the organization of the Science of Success philosophy. I had just finished telling Mr. Carnegie that I feared he had chosen the wrong person to give the world the first practical philosophy of personal success because of my youth, my lack of education, and my lack of finances. Well, at this point, Mr. Carnegie delivered a lecture that I shall never forget, because it changed my entire life and paved the way for my helping to change the lives of millions of people, some of them not yet born. Let me call your attention to a great power which is under your control, said Mr. Carnegie, a power which is greater than poverty, greater than the lack of education, greater than all of your fears and superstitions combined. It is the power to take possession of your own mind and direct it to whatever ends you may desire. This profound power, Mr. Carnegie continued, is the gift of the Creator, and it must have been considered the greatest of all of his gifts to man, because it is the only thing over which man has the complete and unchallengeable right of control and direction. When you speak of your poverty and lack of education, Mr. Carnegie explained, you are simply directing your mind power to attract these undesirable circumstances, because it is true that whatever your mind feeds upon, your mind attracts to you. Now you see why it is important that you recognize that all success begins with definiteness of purpose, with a clear picture in your mind of precisely what you want from life. Then Mr. Carnegie continued his speech with a description of a great universal truth which made such an impact upon my mind that I began then and there to give myself a new outlook on life and set up for myself a goal so far above my previous achievements that it shocked my friends and relatives when they heard about it. Everyone, said Mr. Carnegie, comes to the earth plane blessed with the privilege of controlling his mind power and directing it to whatever ends he may choose. But, he continued, everyone brings over with him at birth the equivalent of 2 sealed envelopes, one of which is clearly labeled, the riches you may enjoy if you take possession of your own mind and direct it to ends of your own choice. And the other is labeled, the penalties you must pay if you neglect to take possession of your mind and direct it. And now let me reveal to you, said Mr. Carnegie, the contents of those 2 sealed envelopes. In the one labeled riches is this list of blessings. 1, sound health. 2, peace of mind. 3, a labor of love of your own choice. 4, freedom from fear and worry. 5, a positive mental attitude. 6, material riches of your own choice and quantity. In the sealed envelope labeled penalties, Mr. Carnegie continued, is this list of the prices one must pay for neglecting to take possession of his own mind. 1, ill health. 2, fear and worry. 3, indecision and doubt. 4, frustration and discouragement throughout life. 5, poverty and want. 6, and a whole flock of evils consisting of envy, greed, jealousy, anger, hatred, and superstition. Now, my mission in life is to help you and everyone who needs my help to open up and use the contents of the sealed envelope labeled riches. And the starting point from which you must take off if you wish to write your own ticket from here on out for the remainder of your life, I will describe for you in these simple instructions. 1, procure a neat pocket-sized notebook, or something on the order of this one here, loose leaf affair. And on page 1, write down a clear description of your major desire in life, the one circumstance or position or thing which you will be willing to accept as your idea of success. And remember before you begin writing that your only limitations are those which you set up in your own mind or permit others to set up for you. And 2, on page 2 of your notebook, write down a clear statement of precisely what you intend to give in return for that which you desire from life. And then start in right where you stand now to begin giving. And 3, memorize both of your statements, what you desire and what you intend to give in return for it, and repeat them at least a dozen times daily. And always end your statements with this expression of gratitude for the blessings with which you were gifted at birth. I ask not, O divine providence, for more riches, but more wisdom with which to accept and use wisely the riches I received at birth in the form of the power to control and direct my mind to whatever ends I desire. If you are not too successful or self-satisfied to accept and express this profound prayer, if you accept it and express it in the same spirit of humble sincerity in which I pass it on to you, a new and a better world will reveal itself to you. A world in which you will see reflected the circumstances and the things which you yourself have created. And now let me close this, our first visit, with my favorite expression of gratitude. O divine providence, I ask not for more riches, but more wisdom with which to make wiser use of the riches you gave me at birth, consisting in the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever ends I desire.
Powerful. Did anybody feel some level? Oh, hang on a minute. I've got things going on here. What's going on here? Where's that gone?
If so, I want you to come down here with me, and I want to show you basically a very powerful methodology that allowed me to free myself from myself.
Hey, thank you, but no thank you. So yes, that was a powerful message that I received. Did anybody take any notes, by the way? Anybody take any notes? Yeah, cool. There'll be some things that, yeah, I'm going to drop it into the actual group, the Your Desired Success group. I'm going to drop the video in there so people can go through that. So there was quite a lot that I got from it the first time I was listening to it. And it's 5 o'clock, so it was, you know, it was literally just before the call. I'm going, whoa, hang on a minute. There's a reason why this has come up. And I just started writing loads of notes, and I've got a few more now as well. So I'm looking forward to diving in deeper in regards to what you received. But I do want to set this as well and cover this. When Napoleon wrote the book, when it was publicized, it was 1937. Okay, so with all due respect, I'm on a call right now with ladies, and you weren't viewed as equals back then. So the language is very much man, man, man. We know that today we would use the language of us. My mum has read the book. Has anybody else read the Think and Grow Rich for Women? Yep.
Oh,
so,
not for women. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's Think and Grow Rich for Women.
Oh, that's cool.
If you get it, Mark.
Yeah, my mum's going to go and grab it. It's oh, Beth's pointing down that it's somewhere around here as well. So the people that have read the book, and it was actually here we go. So I've got it here by Sharon Letcher.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, someone's got it. Napoleon Hill Foundation approved this being written, so it wasn't just like she decided to go off and write it. In Napoleon Hill Foundation approved it. Sharon Letcher also did the audio for Outwitting the Devil, which some of us went through as well. So that every female that I know that's read this one, I've not read it yet, but everyone that's read it has said makes far more sense. It's more to date and has really resonated with it, especially the way that women think. I mean, you might be able to elaborate more on that if you wish to.
Yeah, I read Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and I liked it, but it didn't rock me. And it was Shazana that said, try this one with the women. And it just definitely resonates and gets to where there's a lot of aha moments, which I didn't get in the original Think and Grow Rich. And I think it's because it's coming from a woman, rather. And she's talking to a lot of women. So there's a lot of feedback from other famous women and everything. I found it really, really helped. It's gentler. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, cool. Anybody else read it or not? So if that's a no, then that's all fine. So there was a couple of things that came up for me when I was listening to it this time around. Oh, Trudy's back. She's up and down like a yo-yo. So one of the things that really resonated with me right in the early stage was how, and I don't know if we're all going to gain different things from this, was that Napoleon questioned Andrew Carnegie whether he was the right person for the job. So there was instantly that self-doubt, that self-worth, and Andrew Carnegie saw the potential before Napoleon did. Like, think of the power of that. Somebody seeing the potential in you before you can see it. And that belief, I believe, also helped Napoleon go off and do what he did for the next 20 years before he publicized Think and Grow Rich. So with that in mind is the first thing that came up that I noticed. Is there anything that has happened in your life that you can maybe go back to and reflect to, where somebody maybe put their confidence and belief in you before you believed in yourself? Diane?
Yeah, I've had that through a fair bit of my life, actually, but definitely in my work life. When I was I think it was about 23, 24, I used to whinge a lot about things not being right in my work. And I could, things could be done better. And we had an old-fashioned manager. And when I left the company, I ended up ringing up asking for a reference when I'd gone back to my old company and realized I'd made a mistake. And that manager, the general manager, took me out for lunch and actually said to me, I want you to manage that division. And I'm like, no way, like I've never managed staff. I mean, I wouldn't know how to manage staff. And he says, and his office happened to be right next door to mine. And I didn't realize he was actually listening to me whinging all the time. So he says, well, it's time for you to put up or shut up, sort of thing. So he'd shifted the manager sideways into another area. And I just said to him, I don't know how to manage. And he said, well, and he said, you can do it. And I said, well, I will do it if you teach me how to do it. But he saw that belief in me before I, believed myself at all. I mean, I went into that job absolutely petrified, going, I don't know how to manage staff. I don't know how to make this happen. But it was the best thing, and then it just grew me from there. But most of my working life, my moving up the ladder was not me wanting to do it. It's because people saw in me what I didn't see in me and basically moved me up the ladder. So, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for sharing, Diane. Anybody else around that, or another part of what you heard in the video, Mum?
Yeah, for me, it goes back to when I was quite young, believe it or not, at one time. And I started working at the hospital as a nursing auxiliary. And one of the guys I used to work for, a consultant called Teo Akinbane. And I remember walking into his room early one morning as we were setting up clinic. And I said to him, oh, it's only me. And he turned around, and you've got to imagine this guy is a big guy. And I mean, big in stature, black gentleman. And he turned around and he said to me, it is only me. You are as important as I am and everybody else is. Never say it's only me. And that was the first real dealings I had with this gentleman, because as a consultant, they didn't used to bother. And then he set up on his own, and I got asked to join the company. So he created a private ophthalmic company, a surgery and a clinic. And I was with him for about 2.5 years. And he said to me, I want you to become one of my scrub nurses. And I looked at him and I laughed. I said, you're joking out your tail. There's no way I could be a scrub nurse. He said, yes, you can. And he taught me, and my closest friend at the time, Cindy, in the nursing, they both taught me how to scrub. And I ended up being, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I ended up being one of the best scrub nurses that they'd had. And it was like you said, Dan, it was what he saw in me that I didn't see. And it was amazing. And I did it then for 17 years and loved it. So yeah, that was really good for me.
Yeah, great share, Mum. Veronica.
Martin, this is a fantastic topic because we get to celebrate ourselves.
Yes.
And thinking of it like that, it's like, well, pretty much every single teacher, every single mentor that we ever have sees more in us than we do see in ourselves all through our lives. And for me, it started with my dad. Mum always tells a story of when I was born. Dad used to say, this is the smart one. But the problem with that is there's also high expectations from a very young age. So, but, I can handle it. So that's the thing. I think we always, any challenge that we face, we can handle it. And it's just trusting that we can.
Yeah, beautiful share. That actually reminds me as well, Veronica, on who here has watched the movie Think and Grow Rich that's in the Your Desired Success group? Anybody watched it yet? Okay, I'm not giving the whole movie away because there's so much value in different angles, but there's a part where, anybody heard of Thomas Edison? Yep. So Thomas Edison basically was kicked out of school for being too thick. Okay, not intelligent, wasn't worthy of being in school. That was what the letter went back to his mum. And his mum opened the letter and she's reading it and she's in tears. And a little boy, he's only that young, and he's looking up at his mum. And she starts reading it to him, but she reads it as in, Thomas is not able to be, is too clever for this school. He needs to go to a different school or whatever like that. So she planted that into him. Later in life, he finds the letter and he reads it and he breaks down and he's angry and he realizes exactly what his mum gave him through choosing to communicate like that. Like that power in itself, and giving that inner belief to somebody to go on and achieve what he chose to achieve. So there's a lot, and there's been countless people in my life who, I mean, you touched on it as well there, Veronica, the teachers, even at that young age as a teacher, seeing the potential, knowing that this child is going to evolve into a young adult. So what can they help extract from that child to help them see their true value? I think this is one of the great things around the Steiner schools and there's another name as well.
Montessori.
Yeah, where they allow the child to express his or herself, and then tap into that level of greatness there, rather than trying to say this is the way, and if you don't fit in, you're going to be at the back of the class, out the way, kind of thing. So is there anything else anybody would like to share that before we move on around what they received from the video?
Yeah, I'm happy to, in the fact that what came up for me right at the beginning when he was talking was, like when he's talking about when you believe something and you know that you need to have that how you can create that for yourself. So when the kids were younger, Mum would look after them while I worked full time, and she was also fostering and looking after my brother who's autistic. And she was going through a really hard time and she really couldn't take the kids on any longer. And I didn't want to put my youngest in daycare. So I just knew that I had this need that I had to work from home, and I didn't know how I was going to make that happen. And I just put it out there that it was such a need and such a belief that I had to make this happen. I didn't know where it was going to come from. And my girlfriend, who had a home business, who was never going to sell it, all of a sudden, a week later, after I made this decision, I had to have something from home, was selling her business. And I ended up working in that business. I didn't make any money out of it, but for me, it was something that I really enjoyed doing because it was making the molds of the baby's hands and feet. And, I took on doing the deceased babies and that, which for me gave me a lot of, I felt good to be able to give back to those parents. But it also gave me time to be at home for a few years with my daughter, to be old enough then to move on to daycare or back to Mum's when Mum was in more control. So yeah, for me, that's that. Then I also see on the other side that, I went back to the corporate world and now I'm wanting to go back in to do my home business stuff. But the older I've got, the more I feel like I need to be qualified. Like where he was talking about, am I qualified to do this? So it's getting stuck in that belief that I can't share because I don't have that qualification, and it's getting past that belief for me is what I've identified.
Whatever
from
the
what
mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's what came up for me.
Thanks for that, Diane, because that actually goes through some of the different areas that was shared as well. In regards to the two envelopes, can anybody remember what the two envelopes were around? One was riches and the other one was
Penalties.
penalties. So I'm going to read out the riches list, and I want you to really take into account the title of the book, Think and Grow Rich. And I want you to think about the envelope. Written on the envelope was the riches you may enjoy if you take possession of your own mind and direct it to the ends of your own choice. The envelope inside had sound health, peace of mind, labor of love of my own choice, freedom from fear and worry, a positive mental attitude, material riches of my own choice and quantity. Okay. What do you notice is missing out of that list? Based on the perception of the book, the title of the book, and what's written on the envelope, what is missing?
Money.
Wealth, money.
Money. Do you notice how through all of that, he never actually said money? And yet, what do most people think of when we say riches?
Money.
And we define our success based on the money in the bank, the money that's coming in. But is that really success? Like that's how it. Sorry, Jackie.
I'll say to some people it would be, but yeah, it just depends what your definition of success is, I guess. So, yeah.
And there's a brilliant college, a university address that's done by Matthew McConaughey. Maybe some of you have seen it. I think it's like 11 laws or rules that he delivers. And in one of them, he says that he went into this like shop where they had all these different potions, and across there was all these different like riches in life. And the one that was all empty, sold out, was money. But everything else was there available. He says, because people, that's what they want. That's what they want. We see it in regards to posts on social media today. People are like, oh, earn money and don't do anything. And people go, oh, and they dive in. And they want this like instant gratification, but they're not prepared to do the work. It's like, hey, the money is irrelevant. People, when I pass, people aren't going to be going, oh, he's got a lot of money in his bank. They're going to be like, how did he make me feel? What was the conversations like? Did he listen? Was he there? How did he show up in the world? What did he do for like humanity? What impact did he make here? Like, they're the things that matter, because they're the things that are byproducts of when we are aligned with ourselves, in my opinion. Because you can only be sending out a higher vibration, a higher energy, when you are aligned with your core values, when you're living in purpose, where you're actually striving towards achieving those riches of sound health, peace of mind, labor of love for my own choice. Labor of love for my own choice. Bob Proctor shared this. The job that we have is there to make us feel satisfied. If we're not satisfied in what we do on a daily basis, why don't we just change that? Now, for some of us, that's going to go, well, I can't change what I do. What am I going to do? Do something that satisfies you. That's what you're going to do. Make a choice. If you believe that you're worthy of that, make that choice. Veronica, yes.
Where do I start with what you've just said? I just resonate with that so much. The thing about the money side of it, I'm an accountant, so I know exactly where that comes from. And I have clients who show up in stubbies and shorts, and I know they're rolling in money, and I know that they're happy and content, and I love what they do. And I have people show up in suits and expensive cars, and they whinge about how poor they are. So the money is a really interesting relationship for exploration on where people actually are in their lives. And one of the only point I actually wrote down from the 7 minutes was that was how Napoleon was talking about, it's not about, in order to receive, it's what are you giving? What are you providing? What are you being of service for? And I'm noticing that with doing coaching, that it's so much more satisfying than anything I've ever done. And yeah, loving it. And you know, before that, I think through my journey through Noble Goldman, coming in, and I'm thinking, all this, everything that I've been successful at is due to my own blood, sweat, and tears. And then realizing that no, at every point in time, there's always been help, and that that allowing and receiving assistance and help and asking for people to collaborate with me is what that's my learning at the moment.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's my growth at the moment.
Being open to give and open to receive. Yeah. Allowing others to give. Beautiful. Anybody else that's not spoken yet, maybe? Come on, ladies, don't be trying to be all polite here. Just come on. This is an opportunity. The floor is yours. I should be trying to mute the other people while one of you speaks.
I'm going to go next.
Carly, go for it.
All right, because I've listened to 4 mainly so far that all had an upbringing or some sort of teacher, and Veronica obviously as well, but so far that had the opposite to me. So you guys all had someone that was a teacher that saw something in you and created you to believe in yourself and trust that if you try what they're showing you, you will have, you wouldn't even have thought probably back then I'm going to have an outcome, but the person believed in you so much or knew from their journey that it's possible, and they were just passing it forward, basically. Now, I didn't have that. My teacher bullied me through primary school but made me believe I was not worth anything. And I believed that all my life because my parents didn't encourage us to learn anything. They never promoted that kind of belief in us. So I'm just stating it because there could be other people on here that may have had similar, or someone that'll listen to that. Like, we're not all equally given the same opportunities. And these masterminds are for anybody. You don't have to be at this level and have been given opportunities and are fantastic and growing, and you're so good at it, you're going to keep growing. We're all combining these masterminds with multitude of people that have all different levels of experience. So anyone out there listening, this is for you, because this is what's going to lift us all up. In a group like this where we are a mixture, and we have people like Martin, for instance, who has this amazing ability, like his mum obviously taught him, Rosa, to have this ability to help people see bigger than they can. And Diane will be the same because she learnt that from a younger age. Veronica, I'm assuming, is the same. Everyone else on here hasn't spoken yet, so I don't know your story. But even the conversation lifts us all up and brings hope, and there's another way. And that is what Noble Goldman's trying to do. Every time you get on a call with Mark, he lifts you up and has you believe, or has you understand a different layer to what you didn't know before when you weren't taught that.
Beautiful. Share that, Carly. And something that I just want to touch on there. Everything has a polar opposite. So what you experienced through your earlier years, you now are experiencing the polar opposite of that. And the only way that we can appreciate what you're experiencing right now is by understanding the opposite of it. So even though I may be viewed as to where I'm at now, I've also experienced the opposite. And that's where it's that thing of, well, now that I understand both sides, which side do I want to be? Like my post that I did on Facebook the other day, what is the mark that I'm leaving? I know the mark that I leave will be empowering to some, but I know it'll be disempowering to others based on where they're at and what their mind is thinking and believing at that time. And that's, it's a really powerful thing you shared there, Carly, and thank you for that. Yes.
It me or Jackie?
Whoever wants to go, yeah, that's fine.
Go on, Jackie, go on, you go.
Okay. I can relate to Carly tremendously, because I was the same. I had the opposite. All I can remember that sticks in my mind mainly when we have this conversation is I achieved something really well at school when I was probably about, I think I was probably about 9 years old, and I went home and I was telling my granddad, you know, I did this, I did that, and I got this, and I, you know, won this award and whatever. And my mum, I remember my mum came in and she goes, oh, don't blow your own trumpet. She said, stop blowing your own trumpet. And I was like, oh, so I just kind of shut up, and I can still remember this. And my granddad said, oh, well, if, you know, she doesn't do it, no one else will, sort of thing. So he sort of, you know, was sort of telling my mum basically, shut up, don't say that. But that affected me a lot. Even though I was sort of quite academic in school, I never really did to my, you know, I didn't really grow to my true ability, I don't think, because I always tried to hold myself back because I didn't want to be out front and, you know, recognised, because I was just like, then I was just like a really shy person. I got bullied a lot in school as well, from the age of about 7. So, you know, all through my life, I was just like trying to like hide, I guess, and not be seen and not be heard. But since I've been doing like things like this is, you know, is really great, because it's like, it's giving me confidence to know that I can do things, and it, you know, it doesn't matter what other people think or say. It matters what I think and what I believe about myself as well. And it's taken me probably till I was about 40 to get to that stage where, you know, to have a small bit of belief in myself, which is constantly growing now. But yeah, it took me a long time to get there. And I always thought I would never, ever do that to my kids. You know, I would always build them up and never tell them that they can't do something, or, you know, try and hold them back from achieving. And both my kids, well, not kids anymore, they're adults, but are doing really well in life and succeeding. So I think I did a good job there, at least. So, but yeah, I can really relate, Carly, to what you said.
So with that, and thank you for sharing that, Jackie, and being so open with that. But with that, can you see the opportunity for gratitude towards your mum?
I don't know.
Okay, well, let me explain it to maybe paint the picture for you. The things that happen in our lives are going to send us in one direction or another. What you experienced from your mother through this allowed you to realize that when your time came for you to be a mother, you were going to give that love and support to your children. If your mother hadn't have done it, you may not have had that desire to make sure you made it a priority for you with your children.
Yeah, true. Never looked at it that way.
That's because of the way that we often don't judge things or appreciate things that are two sides. You know, like for instance, I've always had a challenge with my dad. One, because I'd see him come home and have his lunch, and his lunch would be basically a packet of chocolate biscuits. And I'd be frustrated because he used to be into the fitness and all that stuff. And then he was just getting fat. And I'm like, he's going to have a heart attack. He's just going to literally die. And all he's thinking about is himself, and he's not bothered. I was putting my values and beliefs on him and creating a level of stress in my body and expecting him to do what I believed was right. Yet what my dad was teaching me all along was, don't do what I'm doing if you value your health.
Mm.
So, and I didn't even see it. It was actually I had to go to this men's retreat, and I worked with a good friend of mine, and he helped me see the beauty in the lessons from my dad, which then helped me see the beauty in the lessons from everybody else along the journey, and go, my judgment to them and well, let's just say my judgment to them was in this, you're an idiot. You shouldn't have treated me that way. But then I was able to see the beauty and the blessings in it. Has anybody seen Rocket Man, the movie about Elton John? Wow. I'm getting goosebumps now. Like, look at what, when he all he wanted was to be held by his dad. And then he went to see his father, and his father's got his other children, and they're all over him, and he's in tears witnessing it. And later on, as we know, he's adopted children, and he's happy. His mom said, "You'll never be loved." Like that, all that kind of things that we don't see at the time, it teaches us the opposite. Veronica.
Yeah, that was a pretty powerful film. Just had no idea what Elton had gone through. You think he's got all his fame and fortune, and then he blows it all. But when you find out the backstory, and that's the same with everybody, it's like we really don't know what's going on with people. So we should just be kind, as the saying goes. But I'm really interested that see, my life was far from perfect. And I was bullied at school, and I had really bad teachers. I went to 13 schools in my first 7 years, so I had a lot of variety in my teachers. And then I went on correspondence school through high school because we were traveling, so I just couldn't keep jumping in and out of high school. So I had no teachers effectively. But I can still, as you were pointing out, Martin, it's about gratitude for whatever has happened has made me who I am today, and I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, I think, and the gratitude and forgiveness is an incredibly powerful process to go through with everybody who's ever hurt you. Whoever you thought has hurt you has actually given you a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
there's sorry.
I was going to say, because if you take it back to the book, Think and Grow Rich, and perception and belief, basically everything I was feeling as a child and receiving as a perception of how the teacher and the other students were bullying me, that created me to take that with me. I didn't have a parent saying to me, come on, let's sit down, hang on, let me hug you, let me discuss, or at least talk to you about what's going on. I had nada, like nothing. So the thing is, I took that on as, well, I'm just not enough, or I'm not good enough, because that's what my parents brought me up believing. That's what the teacher had me believe. By the time I got to high school, that's what the students had me believe. But by then, I had embodied that belief. So what I was thinking was, these people aren't kind. And the more I thought it, the more they weren't kind.
Mm.
Right? And I had embodied the younger version of me believing that I wasn't enough. And so that's what I got 24/7. Wouldn't matter if I was at home with my parents or out doing a sport. I witnessed it everywhere I went, because it's back to thinking and growing wealthy in what you're thinking. And my thinking was a negative one. So it was growing a lot of that. It's not just growing wealth in all of that conversation. So it depends what you want to think. And once you understand that and get aware of even your conscious and subconscious thoughts in a moment of time, and you get a bit more aware and you start to decide, no, I don't want that anymore. And you start to decide it. And then you get a bit more aware when it's still happening, and you go, no, hang on. And you go in and you decide, no, I don't want that with my mum, and I don't want that with my peers. You're already back to Think and Grow Rich. You're growing the wealth of what you do want, because you're deciding. And it's just a decision.
Yes, Mum. Beautiful
Yeah,
share, Kylie.
yeah, Kylie, that amazing. Yeah, and totally resonate with what you're saying. And for Martin, when I was growing up, being the youngest of 5, as most of you know, and in an Italian family, we were never, and I'm not knocking my mum and dad, because that's the way mum and dad were. We were never praised for doing anything. My mother would give you this wonderful, wonderful smile, but there was never a well done. I mean, I was so bad at school that my sisters used to read the report out so I didn't get a good hiding. And it was always a bribe, make it sound really good, because they couldn't read English. So my sisters and my brother were the ones, and we all read each other's out. But the thing was, that was how I grew up, with fear. Be careful, don't go swimming because you might drown. Be careful on the road because you might get run over. Do this, don't do that. And when I had Martin and Kevin, that's what I was saying to them. Be careful of this, be careful of that, don't do this, don't do that. And I remember Kevin once saying to me, he was riding his bike.
You just ruined me.
He was riding his bike to school. I said to him, don't, be careful, Kevin. And he went, Mum, don't say that to me, because then that makes me then think something is going to happen. And my sister years later said to me, never say to them, take care, because it puts the doubt in. And I never now, even Kev's a commercial diver, I always say to him as he's leaving me, I always say to him, enjoy your trip away, Kev. Because that way, and I'm completely different with the grandchildren, and it's down to what I've learned over the last couple of years, jumping on these calls, being with positive people. And it is amazing. It's all about just thinking wealth and richness within brings it out. I have to remind that Dave, because he's a Yorkshireman, and he thinks all wealth is down to money. So I have to kind of remind him it's all from within, Dave.
Yeah, good share. Is there anything anybody else wants to touch on around the video, around the topic? That Sasha, anything for you?
Yeah, I would like to ask something, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
For page 2, he mentioned, he said, write a statement with what you no, that was to give. No, it was page 1. Your major desire. And I have a major desire. That's a sort of end result I want. And but I also want, like, in August, my mother has her birthday, and I want to buy her a car, because her car is old and broken, and it really needs replacement. And it keeps her going, maybe when she has something to go for. But I was wondering, how do you put that all in perspective? Because you have all the different wishes you have, like that car, or things for your house, or another dog, or whatever. And what's your, how do you place it? Well, because my major desire is totally different from all the worldly things, like money, or a dog, or a house, or whatever. So what are you focusing on? Should I be focusing on the money for the car for my mother, and that put that on the call card, and when that's over, go back to the bigger desire or something? Because that's how do you say that? That confuses me. What you should take as that desire to work on.
Does yes, great answer there, Veronica. Use the Noble Goldman Abundance Game to help you with that.
Yeah, I do that.
Yep. Okay, good. So the one thing that I'd say to you is that your main desire is not the thing that once you achieve it, it's time for you to leave this physical life. Okay? Because we can achieve our goals and our desires very quickly, but it's then, what is the next thing we want to do? What is the next thing? So if you put in place that my desire is to help my mum purchase a car for my mum so that she has the mobility to get around. And then so the desire is for the car and the reason why you want to do that. But then the next part of that is actually, what are you willing to give in order for you to receive the money? Not necessarily how many hours are you willing to work a job or anything like that, but what are you willing to give? Because it's an energy exchange. Money doesn't even exist. It's an energy exchange. The accountant might disagree, but no, I believe Veronica's all over this. But it's an energy exchange. So what are you giving energetically that is aligned vibrationally to receive the money to then be able to purchase the car for your mum, for her to be able to get around and do what you expect you intended for her to do? Does that make sense?
Like, yeah, it's a little vague for me again. Ook like the statement, what are you intend to give? Yeah, I will give all my energy and effort and I will go for it. But do you have to be specific? I'm going to call 20 people every day to make connections or whatever? Or
Well, what you have to be specific. So, for instance, if you sat in a board meeting, okay, so you're a shareholder in a company and you sat in a board meeting and the company said, we project that this is what our target is, this amount of money to be coming into the company. And then what they would say is, what are we willing to give in order for that to come into the company? Then they would start to basically get very specific on what they are going to do and create to then sell. So it isn't a case of, I'm going to just give my energy 8 hours a day, because you can give energy in all different ways. And when we look at what Napoleon was saying here around the riches was, if you just focus on one area, you are going to be out of balance. The angle of it is that if you are in harmony in your life, things will actually start to come in because your vibration is high. So when you sit down to look at what is the basic income earning things that you can do, for instance, if you need, and I don't know what the price of a car would be, but let's just say 5,000 euros. If you need 5,000 euros for a car, what do you need to do to achieve the 5,000 euros? How many sales need to be made? How many members need to join? What needs to happen logistically for that to happen? But at the same time, what time are you willing to give for that to happen, but also the time that you're willing to nurture yourself through your core values? For instance, my business continues to grow whilst I'm on the road, traveling in the car, singing to Elton John and different things, and coming in and going and swimming in the infinity pool. I'm not in front of the computer working. But what I am doing is filling my own cup and energetically matching the vibration that I want to receive. Because it's not about the money. It's about the vibration of what you want to achieve with the money to make a bigger impact in your mother's life, and no doubt will help you. That's the vibration you've got to meet, not the money vibration, the vibration of the vision, the desire.
Okay.
Does anybody else want to touch on, Veronica?
I think that's where the power of the mind comes in and the focus, because I mean, I've had problems with that, a lot of problems with that, and actually focusing on what it is I want to achieve. And sure, you set the number, but what you're saying there, Martin, just fills it out so much more. It's like, it's not just about the number, it's about what you are doing to get to that number and how is that fulfilling you.
Absolutely.
I like it.
Because it ends up, sorry, Carly, go on. Sorry, Carly.
Well, I'm just agreeing. And I was going to say, Sasha, it's like the energy. Like when I show up and I work with you, I'm already a full cup. And then whatever you desire, because I'm a full cup and I'm working with you, your cup, your chakras, if you want to say chakras, expand to where I'm at. And then you maintain that, because for the hour you've spent with me, I've helped you become embodied in that frequency of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And your body then knows, because until our body knows, subconscious body, our mind might know, but we can't receive it.
Yeah.
Not fully, because it's not just our mind, it's our energy, our whole body and our heart, like it's all mind as well. So when I did that session, that changed your mum and your outcome.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's what you're doing with what you want to buy the car.
Aha.
Now, I have done healings with people where they've come to me for healing and they want a new car. And I always ask for half price, like a sale. And I say, whatever you purchase is going to be 50% off. And they come back to me a week later and they say, everything I purchased without even realizing was 50% off. It created to them, but it wasn't my desire. I just held the space of the energy. Their body took it on. That's all you're doing. So you're going to ask for the right car at the right price that you want, because you're going to make the decision of what you want.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be, like Martin saying, the vibration, the energy field of that. You're going to accept that in you.
Okay.
Own that.
Yeah.
And
Perfect.
then
Thank you.
to go with that. Like you already see the car sold and you've got the keys and you've decided on the price.
Yes, I did. And I see myself wrapping it up for my mother with a big, how do you say it in English? Lint or something. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you did that with your property that you're in now, Sasha, as well. You went through that and you did what you needed to do and you raised that vibration. And I think one of the big things around this is when we're using the words like frequency and vibration, you know, in all fairness, if we on this call right now have no judgment, no negative judgment towards that, and we are embodying that and we're feeling that, I guarantee you, if somebody opened the door behind and stuck their head in, they go, "What are you lot smoking? You're all wacky dacky lunatics."
Yeah,
They'll literally, and
definitely.
do you know what's really interesting about this is the fact that, and I would have said that, I would have gone, "Oh, you're all bloody Fremantle hippies. You've all lost the bloody plot. You've smoked too much wacky backy." Like that would have been where I was. Now, I was recently listening to Oprah Winfrey interviewing Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, for those of you who know Abraham Hicks.
Yeah.
And she was talking about the law of attraction. And Abraham Hicks has written a book around the law of attraction. And as Oprah's interviewing her, she said, "Why were you removed from the movie The Secret?" Okay, Wayne Dyer, there was a few other people. And the reason for it was the fact that the stuff that they recorded was all around vibration, was all around the frequency, and it was viewed as weird. If you get this book that isn't approved by the Napoleon Hill Foundation, it will not have all the information on the vibration section. They removed it.
Oh.
Because it's classed as too weird. But really, is that society's view to protect us from something? We need to know about the vibration because everything is just matter that's slowed down. With this physical form is matter that's slowed down. And when we look at Beth and I did an event, went to an event, God, irrelevant of your religious beliefs, let's just put them to one side. God, grand organizing design. It is the frequency of everything moving at an insane rate. For things to slow down, it's matter. One of the questions Wayne Dyer, I believe, asked one of his mentors was, "What's real?" And the answer or what was said was, someone asked this, "What is real, master?" to this incredible master. What is real is what that never changes. What is real is that what never changes. So when we look at ourselves, are we changing? So are we real? Now, once again, you lot are weird. But the reality of it is that if that's the truth, what happens to this physical body when the essence of it leaves? The body decays, but the essence of me, what is it? What is pumping my heart? What is growing my fingernails? What is it that's keeping me here? When we start to dive in this and we ask these questions and we stay there with an open mind and go, and I am willing to learn this, we start to understand that everything is connected. And if we can tap into that, if we can access the mind, the brain, the thinking pattern, you know, I believe the mind is my whole body. It's everything about me. It isn't just my brain. It's every part of me. Therefore, if I can access that and I can sit and feel into how everything feels that I want to achieve. When I sat there and I planned it in my head and I stepped into the power of living life on the road, driving down the road in my car and looking in the mirror and seeing the caravan and with seeing the countryside, I was in that moment. I was filled. I was emotional. I was almost in tears. I was in that moment and it wasn't even physically real, but it manifested into the physical reality because of the vibration that I put out there, because I connected with that vibration. I did what I needed to do, like financially, to make it happen. But I already saw myself there and I stepped into that energy and exactly what I felt. I can remember driving to Beth's mum and dad's farm and smiling from ear to ear, grinning like a Cheshire cat, we say, looking in the mirror and seeing the caravan. The caravan wasn't even made. I hadn't even seen the caravan. But I could see it in my mind, exactly how it looked. I felt, I was conscious of driving down this road. It's a bit bumpy. The caravan's on the back. I don't want the caravan to roll over. All these things I was going through. And exactly what I felt, I feel now while I'm driving with the caravan behind me. That's the power of stepping into it. I'm not saying I mastered it in all areas, by no means. But that really resonated with me. Why? Because it was one of my core values, to be free, to be connecting with the land, to be experiencing new things. I was holding a space of gratitude, which naturally everything raised, and I matched that vibration and it came into my life. Like, it's so powerful. And that's why I say, like, with all due respect to people with where they're at any given moment, we're a teacher or a student, and where they're at right now is just showing to you, hey, keep going. Don't believe in this. It's usually a partner. Don't believe in this rubbish. Keep going is the message. What have you got? Keep going. Have you got a card? Say, look at that.
I have to hear it, yeah. You manifest fast, Martin.
I manifest fast.
Yeah. Kidding.
And this is the only thing that I'd say to, and I used to say this right from the start. Please, everybody, sit down, take your time and get clear on your core values. Because if you're clear on your core values, you're then able to start looking at how you're behaving in your life. Where are you putting your time? We don't want to be busy. We want to be productive. Where are you putting your time? When you are doing things that are important to you, your vibration will rise. You will start to feel it. And the time and effort that you put towards the thing that you classed as work, you will be more present and you will be more productive. And when you're more productive, those things that we class as the rewards, like the finances, will come in and you will be clear on where they're directed to. For instance, if I buy a course, I actually am grateful that, one, I have the money to buy it, but I'm grateful I'm able to support the person who's coaching or facilitating that course to help them continue to do what they do. So I'm able now to see the stream, the flow, whereas before I was like, how much? Why should I give them that much money? See how I'm blocking it? Now I'm able to see the flow can come in and I can keep the flow going. And the more that I allow it to flow, the more it will flow to me. Now, I'm no better than you or anybody else. I'm just starting to see and feel it and witness it. And the more that it happens, the more I'm open to it. So we have gone over the hour, and I do say it could go to 90 minutes. So I am respectful of your time. But does that help you, Sasha, as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it points the right direction again, which direction I should go for now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Before we wrap it up, is there anything anybody wants to touch on that was shared then?
I was just going to say, all you can do, Sasha, is try it. Make the decision. Like all Martin has done is practice over time to be aware, change his choice back to what he really wants. All we're doing is mastering it and reawakening our powerful self and changing it into just believing, like just be in the believing of what we want and accept, like receiving, like knowing, embodied knowing really. But just try it, just practice, and it doesn't matter if you fail. You failed all the earlier years. You might as well start practicing and start not failing.
Yeah.
Like,
thank you.
And the one question I've always asked myself, well, not always, as I've got to where I am, is, does this feel right? And I'm literally feeling into it, because there's been things that have come to me that are logically have made a lot of sense, but they have not felt right to me, which means they are right for somebody else, but they're not right for where they don't feel right for where I'm going. And and that only comes from choosing to slow down and not just grab at anything. It takes time to get that. But if you're willing to work with that and ask that question and just sit and be present, it will start to come a lot quicker, and you'll make healthier decisions that then have healthier consequences for you and results for you. Like that, it's such an empowering place to be.
Great.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually going to put the link in the Your Desired Success group. I'll have to go and get it because I've closed all that down, so I'll have to go and find it myself now. I actually didn't copy it before I closed it, so I'll have to find it. So fingers crossed I can. But thank you, each and every one of you. Jackie, it was an absolute pleasure and honor to have you with us. So we look forward to you being on again.
Thank you. I will be.
Have you jumped in Noble Goldman as well?
No, not yet. No.
So when you do, the abundance game, which is part of the free membership, that is incredible for covering everything that we've gone through, like Veronica touched on earlier on. It's a fantastic tool to use.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my goal for the weekend.
Beautiful. Good to hear. So, ladies, thank you all so much for your time, your energy, your love, your support, your contribution to this call. It's been fantastic. And I look forward to speaking with you again very soon. For those of us who are gold stars, we're on in 13 minutes. All right. Arrivederci.
Thanks, Mom.
Happy day. Bye.
Bye.